So I'm wondering if you've heard the news. Social Security is going broke. Broke like that egg that I dropped off the school roof in third grade. Probably shouldn't say that, no. But is that the full truth? And if you know anything about the channel here, we strive to give really good financial education and information so that you can make well-informed decisions with your hard-earned dollars. And that's what we're going to try to accomplish here today as it pertains to Social Security. So Social Security is not broke. That would be a mischaracterization of the actual problem with Social Security. So I pulled an article here from ssa.gov, probably a reputable source. Now this goes all the way back. I think this is 2010, volume 70, number 3, 2010. So this is an old article, but right in the introduction, it says all we need to know. As a result of changes to Social Security enacted in 1983, benefits are now expected to be payable in full on a timely basis until 2037. Okay, well, what happens after 2037? Well, in 2037, the trust fund reserves are projected to become exhausted. So Social Security is broke because the trust fund reserves are going to be exhausted. You hear that all the time, and that's where the mischaracterization comes from. No, Social Security is not broke, but they don't have enough money to pay the benefits that they're supposed to actually pay. Let's continue. At the point where the reserves are used up, continuing taxes are expected to be enough to pay 76% of scheduled benefits. So once the trust fund, once the reserve fund is exhausted, Social Security can no longer pay the full benefits as you see when you log into your ssa.gov account. Current taxation will only allow the Social Security Administration to pay, in this case from 2010, 76% of the scheduled benefits. So not the full benefits, not broke, but it can't pay 100% of the scheduled benefits. Let's continue. Thus, the Congress will need to make changes to the scheduled benefits and revenue sources for the program in the future. The Social Security Board of Trustees project that changes equivalent to an immediate, this is 2010 talking, an immediate reduction in benefits of about 13%, or an immediate, 2010 immediate, increase in combined payroll tax from 12.4 to 14.4, or some combination of these changes would be sufficient to allow full payment of the scheduled benefits for the next 75 years. Now, what's great about this particular article is it's now 14 years old. And 14 years ago, they were saying, hey, if we take action right now, if we are responsible and take action right now, we would need to reduce benefits in 2010 by 13%, or we would need to increase payroll tax between 12.4 and 14.4%. And if we do that right now in 2010, if we're responsible governors in 2010, I don't mean the actual governors, I just mean the people who are in charge of government. If we're responsible in 2010, we can solve this problem. And instead of a 24% reduction in benefits, it would be a 13% reduction in benefits, or a 12 to 14% increase in payroll tax if we solve it right now. Now, did they do that? Did they do that? Were they responsible governors in 2010? Look, it doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. This has been a problem for a long time. It's not like they figured this out in 2010. They knew this was going to be a problem many, many years ago. And they've had ample opportunities to solve this problem. But the reality is neither party wants anything to do with changing or reducing Social Security benefits. And neither party wants anything to do with increasing payroll taxes. So you know the answer to this question. Of course they didn't do anything. Of course they weren't responsible. No, they just let the problem continue to fester. And so what happens? What happens if, I don't know, let's say your son or daughter, or maybe it's you, falls in a biking accident, scrapes up your leg, and you're bleeding. Okay, you could be responsible and you could clean the wound, and it's not going to feel good. It's going to sting, it's going to hurt, but you're going to clean the wound. You can clean the wound right then and there, get that sting, get that hurt. But a couple weeks go by, you're going to heal up. Or you can do nothing and hope that the wound doesn't get infected. Well, the wound is infected because now it's not a 13% reduction in benefits, and it's not a 12 to 14% increase in payroll tax, because we've literally done nothing about this problem for the last 14 years. So what's happened in the meantime? Well, in the meantime, the wound has festered and things have gotten worse. Here's an article from 2021. Social Security Board of Trustees combined trust funds projected depletion 1 year sooner than last year. So the longer this problem goes and the longer that people live, because life expectancy, if we take out the last several years, life expectancy from 2010 has increased. And so more people are on Social Security for longer, which puts more stress on the trust fund. And so now these trust funds are projected to become depleted not in 2037, which was the original article, 2037. Now, this is as of 2021, we're projected depleted in 2034, 1 year earlier than what was projected in 2020, with a 78% of benefits payable at that time. Yikes. And it's not just the Social Security Trust Fund, because there's more than one trust fund that is paying out Social Security benefits. There's the Social Security Trust Fund, which is going to pay you your Social Security benefit. But then there's also the Old Age Survivor Trust Fund, which pays surviving spouses an increase in their Social Security benefit if their spouse, who had a higher Social Security payout, passes before they do. They get a step up in their Social Security income. That fund is also expected to become depleted in 2033. Again, 1 year sooner than last year's estimate. And it's not just the Old Age Survivors Trust Fund, it's also the DI Trust Fund. That one, though, expected to become depleted in 2057, 8 years earlier than last year's estimate. So all of the different trust funds involved in Social Security, Old Age Survivor, disability, they are all projected to become depleted at some point in time. And when that happens, the only way out of that situation is a reduction in benefits or an increase in taxation. So what can you do about this? Well, it really depends on who you are and when you expect to collect, or maybe you're already collecting on Social Security benefits. So if you're a young person, you need to understand that Social Security running out of funds means there's going to be a greater pressure on you for your tax dollars. More than likely, taxes are going to be going up for young people still in the workforce for years to come, because cutting benefits is the least popular way to solve this problem. And so if you're a young person currently working, if you're going to be working for the next 10 plus years, you should consider positioning your assets into non-taxable accounts, because the tax burden is only going to grow and you're the one who's going to have to pay it, because you're the one who's still working, earning a wage. If you'd like to know more about positioning your dollars into non-taxable vehicles, you can check out our website, leveragewm.com. Go to the top of that page. You'll see book a meeting or ask us a question. We'd love to chat with you about that. If you're already nearing retirement and your working years are, let's say, less than 10 years away, chances are, you're not going to be the source of those increased taxes, but you may face a reduction in benefits. So what can you do about facing a reduction in your Social Security benefits? There's really one solution out there that we've found in the research that we've done that doesn't require you to just, save more dollars or be more diligent with your investing or your saving. There's one solution that we found that actually speaks specifically to a reduction in Social Security benefits. And so I'd like to just briefly share that with you. And if you want to know more, you can reach out to us. But I'll share my screen and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. We did a video a couple weeks ago about one use case for annuities, and it's no surprise that actually one of the solutions for a reduction in Social Security benefits is on an annuity platform. It makes sense because annuities are primarily focused on retirees and securing their income, and a reduction in Social Security benefits is a reduction in that guaranteed income piece. And so we stumbled across this maybe 6 months ago. We haven't talked much about it because, it's a niche product and it's a niche solution, but it's probably something that we should be talking more about. So let me show you exactly what's going on here, and you can determine if this is something that's beneficial for you or not. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about with an actual use case, one of our clients that came into the office a couple weeks ago, and what they did with their dollars. So this particular annuity, this particular client was putting in $440,000 into this annuity contract. And the goal is just to safely accumulate dollars, okay? Safely accumulate dollars. When the $440,000 goes in, you get an immediate bonus of 30%. So $528,000 into the accumulation value of this annuity. Now, if you know anything about annuities, typically when you get a bonus, it is not accessible unless you turn on an income rider. And so there's actually been a lot of lawsuits about that over the last probably 15, 20 years because people didn't understand that. They thought, I get a bonus, I can access the bonus. It's typically not the way it works. So I'm just public service announcement there. So $528,000 is what is in the accumulation value. And that 528 doubles in about 12 years up to just over $1 million. But what the heck does this have to do with Social Security and a reduction in benefits? This particular annuity actually gives you they call it a living benefit base, and it pays out in a bunch of different scenarios. One of the scenarios where it pays out is if there's a reduction of more than 3% in Social Security benefits. So if you experience a reduction in your Social Security benefits of more than 3%, all of a sudden you don't have access now to your accumulation value of whatever it is at the time, $1 million. You have access to the benefit base, which is not $1 million in the 12th year, it's $1.5 million and change. And it's going to pay that benefit base out over 12 years. Really interesting, because now we have a safe vehicle that is a great bond alternative if you're not keen on taking interest rate risk. And if you've had bonds in your portfolio for the last 2 to 4 years, you've seen those bonds drop in value as interest rates rise. That was supposed to be your safe money, right? The bond component was supposed to be your safe money, and yet you saw those values drop. So this is a great bond alternative that does not have an inverse relationship to interest rates. And so it's interesting. Couple that with the fact that they're going to pay you more if you receive a reduction in your Social Security benefits. And we know that the government has no interest in solving the problem of Social Security and the trust funds being depleted in 2033 to 2037, somewhere in that window. And this becomes a really interesting solution to solve the problem of a loss of some of your guaranteed income if Social Security benefits get reduced. So here's how it works. It's called the plan gap benefit. And essentially, if the income gap benefit index, which is your Social Security payment, is reduced by more than 3%, they're going to pay out your benefit base over 12 equal payments. And so in this particular example, our benefit base was 1.4. You get 116 for 12 years paid out of this annuity. And that's that. Does this completely solve the problem of a reduction of maybe 24, 25% in Social Security benefits? I don't know. It depends on what your Social Security benefit is, and it depends on how much you put into the contract. But it's one of the only solutions that pays you more if and when the Social Security Trust Fund becomes depleted and benefits get reduced by more than 3%. I wanted to throw up the disclosures here on the screen just so you can see it. The plan gap benefit is known as the income gap benefit in the contract. Plan gap's a registered trademark of Plan Gap LLC and is used pursuant to a license. The plan gap benefit is a triggered benefit if your Social Security benefits are reduced greater than 3% due to a government mandated action. Non-government mandated actions such as wage garnishments, changes in marital status, or death of a spouse will not result in a qualifying claim, which makes sense. It has to actually be a government action or inaction that reduces the Social Security benefits by 3% or more than 3%. And all of a sudden, this annuity pays out an increased payment to you in a fixed vehicle. I wanted to read that disclosure just because when you talk about plan gap and the income gap benefit, it's not perfectly clear that it is talking about Social Security, but it is. Social Security benefit reduction by more than 3%, you get an enhanced payout on this fixed annuity. That is a great bond alternative. Just another use case for an annuity as a bond alternative, similar to the video that we already talked about. So should you buy that annuity? I have no idea. Haven't talked to you. Don't know you. You might be a long-time listener and watcher of this channel, but if we haven't had a conversation, you shouldn't take any of this as advice. This is just me letting you know what's available, and there's not much available in the realm of Social Security benefit reduction strategies. So, what are the two things that you can do if you're worried about Social Security benefits being reduced? It depends on who you are, how old you are, and how much longer you're working. If you're going to be working for a relatively long period of time, let's say more than 10 years, I would encourage you to strongly consider looking at transitioning some of your assets into tax-free vehicles to avoid the future tax increases that are almost certainly going to come your way. And if you're already filing Social Security, if you're getting close to retirement, let's say less than 10 years of work life left, and you're worried about this problem of Social Security benefits being reduced by a pretty substantial amount here, then there aren't that many solutions for you, unfortunately. There's one that we've found in our research that seems to do a really good job of solving specifically that problem, but that doesn't mean it's the right strategy for you. But we'd love to chat with you. Go to our website, leveragewm.com. At the top of the screen, you'll see book a meeting. Go there, and we'd love to have a short, 15 to 30 minute conversation with you, figure out what your goals are, what you're aiming for, and see if there's a way that we can help you get there. That's our goal. Hopefully this has been helpful, and until next time, take care.